Oh, Spirit of Jazz, man. Spirit of Jazz. Oh, Saturday special with your homeboy, Mike Maloney. How about that? How'd you like them apples, huh? Rich old Granny Smith apples. You know, those kind that your mama making those apple pies and shit. Mmm. Yeah, huh? A little bit of apple pie and cream. A little bit of cinnamon and sugar all up in that shit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you come in here thinking you're hard and shit. Come on Maloney's live stream on Saturday night. You wonder why is this cat not out, man? Everybody locked up and all that fucking quarantine going on there. It's like a United States, Ireland. Oh, the UK. Oh, Prince Andrew, the Lizard Queen. Heard all about them sons of bitches over there in the United Kingdom. What's the crack? We lost one viewer. Someone was like, God, I can't take this, man. This dude's on a fucking mad one. I'm swearing again. I'm going to try and be mindful of my language. Who we got in the chat, man? Chat, man, do. Give it a thumbs up immediately as a part of a requirement of coming onto the live stream. And I will drink an entire bottle of Piri Piri. No, not really. I'll have a little squirt. A little squirt Piri Piri. See how it tastes. Oh, motherfucker. Oh, shit. Ooh. The old Wuhan boys. There was a lad down the road called Johnny Wuhan. How we fucking land on, man? Oh, yeah. Fuck my ass. That was tough. Oh, how we getting on, boys? Oh, shit. I should have really themed this, but I'm gonna read an extract of the Hardy book. Just test it out on you, see what you think, get a bit of feedback. Oh shit, man, I'm spicy. Piri Piri sauce. Tonight, got a few little beverages. I got the old Bisson Head. Sour Project. And a bottle of the old Clonmel champagne. That'll be me limit. That'll be me limit. You might think, Maloney, you're fucking pisshead, man, you're always drinking. But you don't be seeing me when I'm not drinking. I think drinking on stream is kind of more crack. So how's everyone getting on tonight? You doing good? Fuck me, that was spicy. Well, I guess I'll tear it down here. I feel that down the gullet later on. Listening to an Arctic Monkeys gig on the telly and drinking cans, man. Sound buzz. Do you know what, Peaching? It's a nice way to spend the old Saturday night. I remember once meeting Alex Turner when I was working as a stagehand for a place called Circus in Stockholm. And I met him outside and I was carrying this glockenspiel in the case. Should have fucking lifted it, man. Should have went, I'll have that. But it was like this thing called Last Shadow Puppets. And it was all symphony and him going, oh, I was at a chip shop once and I had myself an egg roll. And they were just playing like trumpets and stuff in the background. So I walked outside and said, sorry, mate, is this yours? I held up the glockenspiel and he just looked at me. Nice. I was like, fair enough, mate. Fair enough. The Hazel Park buzz in Galway, no heat jobbing. What was the crack there? Hazel Park, that's up past Well Park. Fair fucks, man. No heat job. So what's the crack of his own? Ask me some questions there and I'll get the ball rolling. I should have came a bit more prepared, but sure, you know what? That's my style, man. I kind of warm up as I go along. Right, so here's what I'm going to do for y'all. For y'all Mars, right? Y'all Mars. Kevin E. Murphy, hey. James E. Moffat. A lot of green boys in the mix. Got a couple of olive greens and 2 dark greens. I like it, boys. Happy Mayo Day to you. Welcome to live chat. I mean, what can I get with this? Fucking learn more. I'll learn more. Right? Okay, I'll learn more. Safety, yeah, fair enough. Cool, man. Yeah. Very enlightened with that now. Will it go away in my chat? No, still there. Bastards. Amanda, love the chat with Jamie J. Carr. Thanks very much, love. Fair play to you. And Jade Elwes. You know what? Fair play. I'm glad to see 2 ladies in the chat. I should start talking about like Nikki Clark, hair straighteners and stuff for like women who aren't into the kind of shit I do. Do you know what I mean? Try and catch some of the kind of boots on a Saturday, scrambling to get some, Max Factor porcelain sheer cover or something. I only know that because of stateside, man. He's like, I only wear a Max Factor sheer cover, and he rubs it like this. Sometimes it's hard to rub it on with the sweat, But thanks very much for coming in. Babe Potato 25, not fucking seen you in a long time, man. Do you think the Wuhan tang came out of a Chinese bioweapons lab? Joe Rogan seems convinced. If Joe Rogan can comfortably sit there on the most profitable podcast in the world and hypothesize about it being coming out of a Wuhan lab, then yes, I'd say the cat was out of the bag a long time ago. If you look into Fort Detrick in West Virginia, apparently a lot of people around that area were coming down with a thing called vapor lung, which was just mad because these vapors lungs were going popping up all over the place, and people going into hospital and in needing intubation. So that was just like probably a trial run of COVID, I reckon. So yeah, I reckon that, man, it's without a doubt. I just seen there's a guy called The Last American Vagabond. I just seen one of his videos came up in my my notifications earlier on, and it said that the Wuhan lab leak. I can't remember what it was. Let me have a look, and I'll tell you the crack. What he said himself on the highlight of that video, and he said this. Hey, he said. Coronavirus research being done at the Wuhan lab was started, funded, and driven by U.S. government interests. So you can check. I'll leave a link to that in the. I mean, your man fucking goes on a good bit. He looks, he's a funny looking ledding. But if you want to have a look at that there, man, just have a look at that there. You're not watching Isolation Ball. Is that all he ever fucking does, man? Is just play FIFA all the time? I mean, how the fuck are people still watching me? What's new? Do you know what I mean? Like. I mean, I don't be watching it. I actually had to turn the notifications off because he was on all the time, and I'm like, I couldn't be fucking watching, to be quite honest. If he ever fucking rang me now and again, do you know what I mean? Ask how I'm doing, ask how the family is. Yeah, I'd be like, cool, man, yeah. But he doesn't, so I just got a bit fucking. Could be asked, man, So Fresh Clunge, Sean Walsh, Max Factor, the crack, Amanda, Leeman Murphy. You're very welcome to the Wuhan chat. I was just watching, and I'll also put a link into this because this was funny, man. I enjoyed. It was an interesting story about a Chinese guy who was an American. Zhu Xiaodong, his name is, and he exposes. Fake martial artists. I think Joe Rogan did something, but you want to see it, man. There's like these martial artist guys who, they're doing all this kind of stuff, and this dude's just like a straight up Chinese kickboxer, MMA fighter, and just batters these dudes. And as he's wailing on them, they're like trying to do all this while running away, and just gets absolutely indulgent. So yeah. So here's what I'm going to do. Big Trouble in Little China. All right there, Max, lad. Oh, mate. Let me see now, lad. Insert ad. Why would I insert an ad to this? Fucking ad inserted. I've just fucking stuck an ad in for the crack. So you're probably going to have to watch some shit. Can I take that out? Actually, that's disrespectful. Fuck that shit, man. If I've inserted an ad, forgive me. Alex Gustafsson, is it? He's a big old bugger, is Alexander Gustafsson. It's a lot bigger than I expected when you see him in real life. Legs on him like fucking tree trunks. Eastwood, I haven't seen you in a long time, brother, man. Hey, Martin and chat. Hopefully everyone as well. I'm doing pretty good, thank God. Touch wood. We got the beloved Prince over here. How are you doing, mate? You all right? Life been good to you? You got the tennis ball there, I see, yeah? Good lad. Did you have a nice day today, did you? Did you enjoy going out? You had 2 shites today, didn't you? And one's evening, one's morning, fair play to you. Yeah, that's good. How's the stomach overall? You were a bit sick the other day, weren't you? Feeling better now, yeah? Good man. Good lad. So yeah, that was the update from Malish, aka Quato. That is a decent tennis ball, man. He's very happy with that. He I mean, like if you go back to him again, he's just like, you like the ball, don't you? It's good. You have it well guarded. I like the way the elbow is just chilling. You know what I mean? He's like a lad who just had a day off at work, and he's just living life to the full. The cushions are on the floor there. Big deal. Pick him up, innit? Kids. He's a lovely beast. A sweet pup, thanks very much. Did you hear that? Amanda said you're a sweet pup. That was nice, wasn't it? So, does his sleep guarding the toy? Not really. We have like a closet where there's a laundry basket beside that, and he just kind of creeps in there and he enjoys that. That's his Glenn Galloway. You're very welcome to this. Just a bit of a chat with you. You know what I mean? It's nice. Yeah, the old Resident Evil crack. That was it was a bit intense. And last night, I don't know what inspired me to stay up till 4:45 in the morning playing that. But that was progress. Progress was made. I'm going to play it back again, knowing all the routes and everything when I get time, and then we'll just have good crack with it. Then, do you know what I mean? Just a good laugh, blowing zombies up and all that crack. Blachem Redachi. Yeah, I know what you mean, mate. I know what you mean. Blachem Redachi. I like that. It's like I'm pretty much purple in it, bit of blue and red. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read a little extract from this hardy book I've been writing. I was going to put this on the podcast eventually, because I don't think I mean, the only way of me getting this out is to publish this myself, because if I go to publishing houses in Ireland, let's say, they'd be like, too hard, it's too nasty, it's softer. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm just going to lay some hard chat. You know what I mean? So here we go. Hardy book, chapter 2, further introduction. I'll keep the old the window up so I can see the old comments now on the side. That'll do. Okay. Chapter 2, further introduction. Word up, fools. Hear ye. The epic pages contained within this classy book will cover more important subjects close to mind cockles. Life experiences up to now, family, friends, and tribulation at the hand of peevish adversaries. I'll be sharing with you, the reader, my steely insights into small-town diplomacy, carrying on the oral, not oral, traditions, legends of old, dropping in seasoned fools' advice from years of taking shortcuts that turned out to be going the long way around. Small-town diplomacy. When I talk about small-town diplomacy, I mean keeping the peace with known arseholes to avoid. Keeping the peace with known arseholes to avoid later repercussions down the line. You see, the crack in small-town Ireland isn't the same thing as living in most big cities. If you don't like somebody and it turns into a scrap, chances are you can avoid each other for ages, man. To the point where you can meet up later on, years later, and get on with one another. In Castletown, you cannot fully enjoy the spoils of war. If you beat someone in a duel, fair and square, they'd wait to get you back 15 years later. You could be talking to someone after the hands have been shook. Come together as friends, sharing mutual interests. Get involved in each other's life. Go to family gatherings. Step in as a godfather. Enjoy some fly fishing as the sun sets over serene summer's lake. Going for some creamy pints of plain on a cold spring evening. You'd be pulling up into the driveway. Bang! You're clocked over the back of the head or kicked in the gooch. The bit of skin between your arse and your sack, also known as the perineum, or in the case of a woman, no man's land. Your old adversary was biding his time, luring you in, lulling you into a false sense of security, sacrificing a better, richer life of friendship to settle a bruised ego from a row you had back on the bus in front of other lads coming back from an away game. That's why you have to be cute. It's a frustrating exercise in tolerance. the unavoidable clims you'll encounter on a daily basis. All you can do is talk shite behind each other's back, or create nuanced rumours that are so ludicrous and random that they're almost plausible. There was a rumour going around the town about Big Barry McNeela, a civil engineer who divorced his wife 5 years back. They say himself and his younger Brazilian girlfriend are now addicted to crack. You see, it's plausible enough, because even though he has a top job, he's a sow for the pints. As in, the woman, being an unknown quantity in town, may have a penchant for the ivory rock, also known as cocaine, washed and cooked up with baking soda and some other shite, creating the commonly abused ghetto drug of choice, crack. Now, with this context in mind, putting up with people you have fuck all time for, such as, for example, Onie McCreevy, he's just one of a plethora of annoying barflies that hang around in pubs in town. An absolute beast for steady pinting, but unlike the other fat old schlobs and skinny tomato-faced middle-aged washout double-talking bastards, McCreevy simultaneously keeps fit, rattling off lines from Pat Short's Dunbelievables and to a lesser extent Mrs. Brown's Boys. Don't know which is worse, to be honest. The former, that was co-created by Pat Short, a man who came to fame in Father Ted and gears his humour towards the fuzzy-headed Irish farming community, or the little Dublin lad who's in Mensa, who dresses up as an old woman in Dublin. For a man in Mensa, he sure knows how to make big money making comedy for people with an IQ below 45. McCreevy continued. Let's check your comments here to see what your feedback is. How we boys? Any retro games like Sega? Oh, your real voice sounds like Angelo Quaid. That picture you put up on Twitter today is gas man. I sent it to the owl lad and he said he didn't understand it, but he liked it anyway. For anyone who hasn't seen that, you can go onto my Instagram page, Maloney101, or Eddie Durkin at Twitter. And it was I was watching a film about the origins of Mesopotamia and the Sumerian culture. They were talking about, they were talking about like human interpretations of the building of, fucking Babylon and all this fucking shit like Tiamat, and basically they were talking about some sort of celestial stuff. But as this was going on, that picture came up, and I was like, "Who drew this, man?" So I took a picture of this, and then I just added, "Trying to come to my gaff, man." So you got this dude who's like this. He's like a swirl with all DNA and shit on him. He's just like in the middle of all this, like all these spaceships and stuff building the pyramids. And I just wrote, "Come to my gaff, man. I've got cans and hash." So it would have been funny if you just checked it out, but fucking. Smashy Rashy knows the crack. No Man's Land. Jay, do you like that one? Fair play to you. I just died. Thanks. This is great entertainment. The explanation of where the gooch is located, too funny. Fair play. I am the liquor. Oh, Jim Lathy. Are you doing a bit of video on a fucking hand boy? So, let me see. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Fair play. Fucking Eastwood. Yeah, that's the one. I can't remember. I checked out this thing about Marduk and Tiamat. That's the one. Yeah. That it was actually, I was looking up Marduk because I was having a chat with some lads about weird shit going way back. Celestial bad boys. Yeah, Marmaduke or fucking Marduk, whatever the fuck you call him. I heard Marduk's after you. I heard you talking shit about Marduk the last day up the town. Be warned, man. Aha. Aha, be warned. It would be great for a long car ride. Yeah, that's the idea, man. So I'm just going to keep chipping away at this. Shawneen, man. Shawneen. Johnny and Sullivan. All right, we'll continue on. That McCreevy prick I was telling you about is still on the GAA team, but he absolutely lives for the beer. His days on the pitch are coming to an end, and he's grown increasingly bitter with age. He was sound back in the day, but acts like an absolute stink dog when he's pissed up. I don't know what happened to him. He spent most of his life on the pitch, on the farm, or on the piss with the boys. He never managed to bag himself a woman. I'd be amazed to hear what kind of waffle he's be coming out with in a bid to convince them into coital courtship. Saying that, I don't begrudge any individual's fondness for self-medicating. I'd be similar myself when it comes to putting away a foolish amount of stuff. Bastards. Here we know. It all depends on your awareness of how it affects you. Health aspects aside, if you behave like a complete and utter sap while lushed up, maybe you should think about laying off it a bit. McCreevy and his crew are the kind of boys who are sound to your face, but talk proper shite about you when you're not there, sucking up to bar owners to get special privilege and regular prices, remembering special occasions for all the wrong reasons. A hidden agenda in self-promotion, always appearing in important photographs of local events, as to be synonymous with townsmanship, giving the illusion he's a pure pillar of the community. He's all right in small doses, but when you're stuck next to him at the bar and there's no buffer between us, he does be either talking aspirational shite about the local team, even though they never win anything, or reminiscing about the days of old Ireland, times he himself never actually experienced. Sure, they didn't even have phones or computers back then, man. Never mind crisps and Kinder Buenos or any of today's modern luxuries. The man is exceptionally narrow-minded. He'd make Buzz McDonald look like Alan Watts, the philosopher. It's his way or the highway. One of these wiry lads who'd sit around firesides with owlbucks talking about forgotten Ireland, tapping them up for useful information on cute hooer tips, acquiring vicarious wisdom to be used in his own arsenal of strokes and schemes. He knows nothing more than winding up more intelligent folk. Proper Kruger-Dunning job. Thinking he's red hot shit, that he knows more about the outside world than he lets on. He lives to be regaling his cohort of red-faced sauce fiends occasions when he'd unscrupulously beguile lesser savvy folk out of handy money or the deeds to an old field. He once sold an old wrecked Toyota Crina to Winty Ford, a legally blind man, one night in the dark up in his house, knowing full well your man had the eyesight of a pissed-up bat. McCreevy, relishing in the con, laughing away as he told a load of lads in Duncreebies. The merciless scoffing was deafening. The slapping of knees, him sat in the middle of them all, like Floyd Money Fauntleroy. Sure, the car was in bits when he took it. Sure, the car was in bits when he came to look at it. I got $1,000 off him. $1,000! Wait till you hear this. Sure, wasn't I given £100 to take it away for scrap for Tommy Joe Lowty? A man given a new second name based on his high-pitched voice from having nearly zero testosterone in his body after losing his bollocks in a bizarre incident in a chicken coop. You know what they say, bellowed McCreevy. A fool and his money are easily parted. He thought he was getting the deal of a century. He even gave me the price of a pint, so he did. Daft cunt. I bought myself a 2-week holiday in Santa Ponsa for myself. Had a great time. Cheers, you blind bastard, you. Oh, how they all laughed. Big gang of them. Always coming into the pub, playing cards, drinking for hours. They'd be in daily like clockwork. Just to be perving on the bar women. One fat owl buck called Shamey Ronson is some tulip. A livestock farmer who snitches for insurance companies. He sits there, nursing his pint for an hour, while taking in all the juicy gossip. Tell him nothing if you see him. He's another one of them sly cunts, who if you weren't local, you'd think you're sound, at first glance. He'd be there lending a sympathetic plastic ear to those who were desperate enough to open their hearts to him after a few pints. He goes home then and compiles a dossier on them. The boys uptown call him Zuckerberg, because he'll sell your information onto shadowy bad bastards. There's a nice-looking barwoman now called Marianne working in there. She's tidy shape to her. For months, your man deliberately waited for her to come back to the bar so she'd serve him. He'd order a bottle of West Coast Cooler then, knowing full well she was about to bend down to pick it up out the bottom of the fridge. I wouldn't mind, but he does usually be drinking stout. And when she's bent over, with the top of the thong sticking out, he'll have a good gawk for himself. Dirty old creep. Big waft of stale sweat and eggy farts off him. The seasoned gut of a greaser eating nothing but mixed grill and soggy chips, washed down with a dozen pints of Guinness. That West Coast Cooler crack went on for ages. It became a running joke with himself and his weird mates. That was until Marianne's patience finally ran out, and she told her fiancé, Barry Malloy, about it. He furiously bounded into the pub one evening after a full day's work, timed it right, stalked his quarry, and caught Ronson with the pants down. Quite literally, caught him as he was having a shite in the jacks. Malloy is a sinewy type of man, slim but strong as an ox, a concrete shutterer by trade, and a handy buck with the steel. Rough hands, calloused after years of outdoor graft. Raised in a family of tough guys that were boxing since being in the womb. After quizzing the old soaks upon arrival about Shamey's whereabouts, one of them sold Shamey down the river. Tony Lavelle just pointed towards the toilet with a lackluster hand raised before carrying on with the pint. The rest of them continued on cowardly drinking, talking about the horse racing on TV, knowing full well the wrath that was to be incurred by an unsuspecting Ronson. A determined and incensed Barry proceeded to burst into the toilet before kicking in the door to the men's stall. Like a German machine gunner on the beachheads of Normandy, he unleashed a vigorous flurry of rat-tap-tap slaps. Jack Russell's snap at the heels of Rothweiler. Shamey was I'll do that again. He unleashed a vigorous flurry of rat-a-tat-tat slaps as Shamey furiously tried to wipe his hole and pull the kecks up at the same time. 'Twas no use. Shamey was incapacitated by the fast, neat, nippy belts. He just didn't understand what was happening to him. He was shouting and yelping, "What's going on? Help!" Of course, his mates knew exactly what was happening, as did McCreevy, but they pretended not to notice. They just kept on playing cards, loudly talking about the racing to vainly cover up the loud rattling of MDF vinyl-coated toilet walls and the sound of slaps reverberating off ceramic tiles. All along, GAA Captain McCreevy revelled in it, sitting back laughing to himself. That kind of crack, you know. Where are we now? Sitting back, laughing to himself, non-stop, kept winking to other lads at the bar as he was supping away on his pint, skitting to his mates, while giddily leaning back into his seat, guffawing at the howls coming from the men's room. He was absolutely loving the crack. Despite moments earlier, the two men had been thoroughly enjoyed reminiscing about the wholesome innocence of the 80s. Himself and Shamey, that is. A pure dink job. Shamey spent a full 20 minutes trying to get up off the toilet, attempting to gain a defensive strike on Barry, only to be pushed back down. It got to the point where Shamey just gave up and took it, pants down around the ankles. Apparently at one stage, Barry had to reach over and flush the chain because of the smell. The hazing continued on. It ended in a final, shameful crescendo when Barry Malloy took out his flute and pissed all over Ronson's chest. His decade-old knitted jumper and shirt combo was now sopping wet. Ronson, 52, was left crying like a fat toddler. Utterly broken he was. Barry waded confidently into the bar, turning to Marianne, saying, "Took care of that fat shite blocking up the toilet. He'll have no bother from now on." The video went viral on WhatsApp. It was an overnight sensation around town. Sent off Castletown lads working around the globe, Canada, England, Australia, and beyond. Sure enough, the guards were called, and it went to court. There was no denying the hammering Ronson took was a bit heavy-handed. What was Malloy's defence for this egregious act of emasculation? Sure, it was only a bit of crack, Your Honour. Just a bit of harmless slagging. Just a joke. Ronson reluctantly agreed because of what? You guessed it. Small-town diplomacy. In fairness, he won't be asking Marianne to serve him West Coast coolers from the bottom of the fridge anymore, so I guess it all worked out well in the end. Well, until Shamey figures out how to exact revenge on Barry, but we'll see what the future holds. Life in small towns, like living in an open prison, a Hotel California job. You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave. It's just part of the culture. You have to be diplomatic with the people you have absolutely no time for, even though they're out to do you, and to be honest, you'd like to do them too. It would be way worse if we openly displayed malcontent for each other. There would be savage fights asunder, bloodletting around the clock. We all know it's a pure waste of time, but we'll chat to one another with a passionate false interest in each other's pub talk, just to restore the balance. The origin of chats. Myself and French Toast O'Toole once took chats a few years ago. It was a slow, boring Tuesday. We were just after getting a spicy chicken fillet burger and a curry cheese chips from the local fast food dispensary. We were feeling class after picking up the dole, Brewster's Million style. Toasteen said, "There was never a better time to take pills and come up like a pair of bastards." I was like, I can think of at least 20 better occasions, but what can I say? Other than that, it was a particularly boring Tuesday. Drizzly old weather, no one around. Early December, long tedious evenings bleeding into the next. I'd rarely had shit times on chats, so we concurred it would be a landmark occasion leading up to the Christmas. They say MDMA, or pills, were designed by a Nazi truth serum used for ascertaining information from suspects during interrogation process of spies. They reckon Hitler was mad on the gear. Day and night, probably shelved pills at bazaars the odd time before he'd sit down to draw battle plans or oversee proposed municipal water pipelines in Hanover, or whatever the fuck the mad prick was at. Don't quote me on this, but I heard some scientist working in a chemistry lab accidentally invented chats. He tested out a batch of them on himself and his mates down the beer house one Saturday afternoon. The sheer power of the Michael D blew the lederhosens off them. They soon discovered the more loved up they were, the more they'd talk. Lads hugging each other and everything. It wasn't long until some dodgy SS villains in leather jackets got wind of the crack, started using them for interrogation purposes. After the war then, American chemists started prescribing them to couples going through mental issues in a bid to get them high as the moon before dropping some hard truth bombs. And by fuck, on that Wednesday, or that wet Tuesday evening, myself and Toasteen were both loved up to the gills. The two of us walked into Duncreeby's, feeling like we were in Miami Vice, cruised in on a cloud of air, explaining to everyone how much we loved them by telling them how much we actually hated them, how much we hated their shite stories and backchatting, and why we hated them. And it's so truthful, so honest, so refreshingly open. They gave us a round of applause. We'd come to a mutual conclusion to mend our ways, be frank with one another, live our lives in virtue, building a new fraternal bond of incorruptibility, striving for genuine tolerance and respect for each other. Satisfied, we left the pub on a pure high. It was great, magical even. We firmly believed that we turn a corner in human evolution, setting a new precedence in expanding the town's consciousness. That was until the next day arrived. With it came a brutal come-down, only to be paid a surprise visit from the dole inspector, who'd been instructed to call round to the cottage at 9 a.m. He was followed by the TV license inspector. 15 Domino's pizzas arrived, and then 5 tons of gravel was delivered right outside the front door. Sure, it was our own fault, but we'll get them again. Mark my words. It's a long road with no turns. Cunt. Okay, I'll have a little look at your comments now. Did you enjoy that? Did you? Damn, it's creepy. Fair play, Kev. Oh, I'll have a look through your comments now. Occam's Brute. How are we getting on? Jason McPartland. Fucking, there's the whole gang are in, man. The whole gang. Josh and Kinsler. He's reading his work in progress book. Ivan Costan. Opinion on the White House bar. I got into a scrap with some Bahola lads a few years back. Lovely spot, nice pints. Fair. You'll get fucking scraps anywhere in Swinford, hey. But it is a nice family, nice pub. Sound people. Found a few chocolate coins from Christmas there. Happy days. TQ, man. It's all about the little victories in life, man. You know, it's simple stuff. Chairface. I know people like this. Probably do. We need to crowdfund to make this made for real. Loving it. Simply, and a name like Simply the Best, man. How can you argue? Give us thumbs up there as well, guys. Just to fucking boost me up in the old traffic. Yeah, you know, I would love this to. I would love to make this book and just have an audio book and have a hard copy. And I guarantee you, the fucking thumbs up are going. Fair play, she. But just to have this as a book, so you could pick it up anytime. You could read it again and again and just get laughs out of it. So that's what I'd like. Something to kind of, if you're going around doing a bit of backpacking around Southeast Asia and you're really out your element and you're like, oh fuck it, I miss home, man. Just pull out the Hardy book, read that, and bring it back down to touch. I missed the start. Can someone tell me what the fuck is happening? Oh, Sheen Campbell, man. You can watch it later on, hey. The pandemic has opened the Ginger Genius. I guess it has. Oh, fuck it. I was a bit late, as usual, story of my life, like, but I'm off. Join the Hardy Books Patreon to read more chapters. Jade Elvis, she was there. She's in the Discord group. £5 fuck it, look, lads. For a £5 a month, you can put me in one of them a day, by. You can put me in 4 of them. Go down to Lidl, 4 of them. That's all I'm asking. And I'll keep it going then. I'm also doing video vlogs on Patreon as well. Just because it's hard to kind of keep all the platforms going, but I'll just keep it simple. And the Patreon, fair play to everyone on Patreon, all the people who've been on it, who are still on it, and who will be on it, because it's kept me. It's the main reason why I kept going. I probably would have jacked in the podcast a long time ago. Even though I'm going to get it done next week, because it's just it's been a lot of shit going on at the moment with being alone with the kids for the weekend, and you know, you're cooking dinners, you're wiping arses, and you know, all this kind of crack. So Barry the Baptizer job. But yeah, what else we got? I have more interest in this than the ending of Game of Thrones. Fair play, Lauren. Sure, didn't they fuck up the old end of Game of Thrones because just wokenomics that seems to have just permeated into everything at the moment. Kev Johnston, hey lad. Love the detail about having to stop to pull the toilet chain. It was a nice touch. There's a bit coming up where I was doing the shopping, and basically if you're reading it out, or you can highlight it and then just press speak on the phone. So as I listen to it doing the shopping, but there's a bit, you know, I'll give it to you. I won't do the whole lot because there's like 26 pages, but the bit I like, all I'll say is dirty, rotten pile of wank. And I was listening to that when I was in the supermarket the other day, and just when I was walking through like the meat section, just went, there's all these Swedish people looking at me going, who is he? What? Why? I was like, you wouldn't fucking know, cunt. I'm not a patron, but I would be if work was reliable. Oh, it's reliable enough, hey? Reliable enough. It's as reliable as a fucking ADHD header like me can be. With cracking the whip on myself with all the other stuff. Fuck you, Deputy Stag. Fuck you. That is very wholesome parliamentary language. That's one of the best videos ever of. I just want to say this, and I will retract my statement. But fuck you, Deputy Stag. Fuck you. I retract my statement. It's just like the way that your man was just like, You're all right. That's the most unparent mentally. I don't know how you can talk like that. Is there a drought in Sweden? Well, like a drought of water, hash, beer. It rained the other day, and I know lads who were talking about getting hash. So fair play to them. Liam on Noel. I prefer Noel's music. Well, I mean, I can't say that. I mean, like, obviously Noel was and he's a funny bastard as well. But there's something when you meet Liam in real life, you realize he's the real deal. And I think Noel is more. He's more presentable to a commercial audience. You know what I mean? He's more polished than Liam is. Liam, you kind of you meet him anywhere. It's like my mate Sasha, where he said like years ago, about 20 odd years ago, he was on the M6 and he just went into a pub like on the lay-by, and he was on his way to the toilet and he seen Lemmy from Motorhead just playing a fruit machine. He was like, "Fucking hell, man, Lemmy, what are you doing here?" He's like, "All right, mate, you're all right." So yeah, days before smartphones, like Michael Ring and Enda Kenny abusing the Kerry man would be my favourite doll fight. Oh, I must check that out actually. Did you ever speak to Paul about Noel and Liam's relationship? I did, yeah, often. I offered to step in there and have a little Jeremy Kyle moment. Liam, what's going on? I know you pissed in your brother's stereo when he was kids, but come on, get Graham in to help. And he's like, "I fucking want to hear about that, man. You know what I mean? I fucking do my own thing now, you know what I mean? The potato, he doesn't want anything out to do with me." But I would give it a go. Definitely, man. Definitely. Synonymous bumming, is it? Oh, right. I'll most unparliamentary. I'll keep reading this shite anyway. So, Castletown, Life, August, Shit TV. So this is the bit now, boy. The streets of Castletown are haunted with old ghosts and memories, the footsteps of great giant headers that have stomped through the town long before I was an itch in my father's satchel. Like everyone else, no man is an island. Even the hardiest of bucks must capitulate to the ever-thrashing waves of age, given the right of way to up-and-coming tough guys, whether settling down voluntarily with grace or being dragged down. Sure, that's a circle of life, man. Just like Simba's owl lad once said in Disney's Jungle Book. Elton John sung a song about it after Princess Diana was murdered by the royal family for being secretly impregnated by a Muslim lad she was tapping. That didn't go down well with the crown. That Prince Philip is a wrong'un. Look at the face on him, like a crow picking the peanuts out of a weightlifter's shite. He's up to no good. I wouldn't be surprised if he's dead, and they thaw him out for special occasions. Sure, what is life but a series of ups and downs filled with chilled out middle of the road bits? Those bits can be the most dangerous to an aspiring individual that wants to cast aside the shackles of Babylon and bust loose from a life of mediocrity. Triumph can spur you on to reaching new heights, pushing a winning streak to the point of taking the piss out of victory, kind of like Dublin GAA or 90s Man U. On the other hand, at rock bottom with nothing to lose, a desperate man will throw absolutely everything he has into the mix to do anything possible to escape the orbit of the black hole he's been stuck in. During such times, the only way is up, and you can ride the wave, gloriously following through, straight to the top of Hard-Ass Lane. When you finally get there, never take your foot off the gas. Never take your foot off the gas. You have to fight tooth and nail to stay on top of things. The creamy bit in the middle is the grey area of ambition. Sometimes we're happy enough to pop the car out of gear and coast downhill to save petrol. The middle bit of life can range from mild irritation to decent thrills. Kind of like watching Navy CIS. Actually, what the fuck am I talking about, man? Fucking hate Navy CIS. What a load of daft shite that is. It's terrible. What were the creators thinking? I mean, people got paid insane money to produce that dirty owl scour. So fucking random too. They squeezed out a good 10 years from it. A detective show all about crime scene investigators in the Navy. I mean, you'd be better off writing a storyline based on some chartered accountant searching for financial wrongdoers in Panasonic. It had that MacGyver pleb from Stargate SG-1. SG-1 was another load of elephant splooge. It was on every day, clogging up Sky One of an evening. It had that big, it had that big muscular black lad with a shaved head, with a drag queen's face and an old gold fucking job in the middle of his forehead. As stateside would say, he's a gay tough guy. The movie Stargate with Kurt Russell was grand, but the series was nothing but a heap of ringed muscle. There was more crack in a used condom. Do you remember NCIS? Do you? It was rubbish. It had some goth bird in her 40s dressed up like a teenage emo in a dog collar and everything. Absolute wanton guff. She takes solid pipe though. Besotted for length, I'd say. Buzz said she bungee jumped into a pit of flaming hot crocodiles for the vision of girth. I wish I'd never thought about it now. It's put me in proper bad form. What other American TV shite do I hate? Oh yeah, Gilmore Girls. That evil, demonic scum does my head in, man. The way they talk to each other, no pause in between the dialogue. Sure, it's a sign the actors are disciplined enough to rehearse and act out incredibly verbose, fast-paced script, but it's like listening to a rake of shams coming up on a pills and Schleigo tone. That old Criminal Minds was atrocious as well. I tell you this, Hy, it would turn me into a criminal just watching it. I do time for the bastards who made it. Solid time. A good 3 months in Castlereagh prison, and my old lady told me Castlereagh is basically a holiday camp for small-town young offenders, the kind of ruffians like the Viper who live for low-level violence and petty crime. Oh man, what else do I hate? Oh, fucking Big Bang Theory, man. What a dirty pile of wank that is. It's the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. Imagine the hard coin these soft fools earned to bosh out that generic slurry. Think of the pond life that would have enjoyed viewing it. There's loads of them living out there among us. Cretins, the lot of them, spelt Creetinz, like how the Americans say it. My old lady had to clean old people's arses in nursing homes for peanuts, while these wrongdoers go around Hollywood leaving the Vida Loca fucking Ricky Martin job. It would sicken you beyond reason, so it would. Teams of unfunny bastards, American writers, hired guns working in tandem, pumping out comedy one-liners. I use the term comedy loosely. Here's an example of how that writing would look. C9, internal nerd, house, day. Sheldon and the other geeky dudes are talking about who could build the best gaming rig for a PC out of the Incredible Hulk and the Green Lantern. Suddenly there's a knock at the door. Sheldon walks over to open up. Hot girl next door. Hey Sheldon, I just wanted to see if one of you guys could fix the sink in the bathroom. I think the pipe is blocked. What do I look like to you? A plumber? Hot girl next door. No, but maybe you could use the power of deduction to diagnose the root of the problem, being that you've got such a good brain and junk. Hot girl Sheldon. Good brain. For your information, I have an IQ of 175, but unfortunately, I am bewilderingly incapacitated by virtue of being an insufferable daft prick. Now please shove that cucumber into the fulcrum of my sweaty ass. Rapturous applause. End scene. All right, I'll go back to your... Okay, what have we got here? What have we got? Some interest. I've seen some interesting stuff out of the corner of my eye. Tordoff is on at the same time. Fuck him. You know where we are. Man Anthony. You wouldn't see him watching this live stream. David Icke just banned on YouTube. Fuck off. Was he just banned on YouTube? Ooh, that's because of all the... I'm Brian Rose from London Real. Wow, I didn't know that, man. But that is a lot of shit that's been taken down. You're talking... That's probably most of his passive income. From him, you know, a lot of times you'd sit through some of Ike's stuff and you're like, actually, a lot of the time you'd actually fall asleep. It's so weird that he could be talking about such depressing shit, but he's got such a great story time, bedtime voice that you just nod off, and then you'll wake up with some random shit like child sacrifice. Fucking hell, man, what are you talking about? David Icke, it probably used and done his job. Interesting. Buzz and Patty turned up for the rollover, drunk as fuck. Daft Punk is a maybe. Brian Kennedy is confirmed. NCIS Achilles Island. Blondine has a cracking pair. Fair play. Hate comedies with shit laughter after every sentence. Yeah, you just like I sit there and I'm like, I know when this one's coming up now. Ha ha ha. I remember there was a show with John Ritter, up to John Ritter, called 8 Simple Rules, and it had Katie Siegel, who played Peggy in Married with Children, and what's her name? Fucking Lena or Leah from Futurama. Basically, David Spade was in it. But the crack was, John Ritter died in real life, man. And I remember watching this with my ex-girlfriend, like 2004 or something, and I was like, what the fuck's going on with the show? And you have this like funeral reminiscent episode for the dad, played by John Ritter. And I was like, oh, that was his favorite chair. Look, it's even got his butt groove in it. And it just had like the laugh track was just in the back of this. So it wasn't like proper laughs. It was like there was laughs to let you know when the jokes were coming, but just shadowy figures in the background going. Sounded a little bit like that time in Resident Evil 4 when those weird fucking creepy jelly bean baby looking bastards came at you and they had spikes and they do this. Creepy fucking bastards. It's the worst bit of the whole game, in my opinion. Like, is full of shite, but he was right about Savile. He was right about Savile. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I'm thinking, how is he playing Wembley? Ice-T, which one are you talking about? Ice-T, Law and Order Special Victims Unit. That's how we do it downtown with Ice-T. We had a perp with a rape. We got a John off the street who turned out to be a rape. We threw the book at him. Ice-T. Used to present this really boring show back in the day called Loaded TV. It was on Channel 4 late at night. Or Badass TV was called. Paulie G, you're very welcome, baby boy. Ike is a British Alex Jones. I think he's a government plant, so reptilians. Niall Carr, watched Danny Dyer's Deadliest Men with Stephen French today. What a head of that man is. I always wear the suit, Danny. I always wear the suit. When I seen them collecting my son's blood in a container, the big, bad, wicked, devil Frenchman blubbered like a baby. I just remember lifting my head up to the sky, raising my head back, and letting out a primordial scream. I'd love to get Frenchie on the podcast, actually. That'd be fucking brilliant, man. I probably know some dodgy headers in Liverpool who could probably sort that out. I'll either him or that crazy fucker from Warrington's Powerhouse Gym. You know, I keep the right hand out for taking the money, keep the left for giving it, you know what I mean? I've got to keep the hand itching. You know, I got kids, mate, you know what I mean? They like to do things like, put bows in your hair and all that. Like, I can't have them on this though, do you know what I mean? You've been tooting barbs. I tell you what, they look crappy fake Rolexes, fake watches. There's something really menacing about Liverpool. When I was growing up in Merseyside, I remember thinking, how can people in America be dodgier than some of the people around like Merseyside? But then you go to America and you're like, yeah, they're just as dodgy, but if not more dodgy, but with different accents. So all around the world, man, you've got dodgy folk all around the world. Got to be careful you don't get hit. Don't be doing deals, dodgy boys in fucking pubs and stuff. I remember years ago, one of the most graphic things I've seen in New York was I'd met Axl Rose one night, and a couple of months, obviously Justin Maslin, my mate, fucked that up. But then a couple of weeks later, I ended up meeting up with his mate Vegas, who we were out with. And we were like, oh, we get in with Vegas, then we'll get in with Rose again. It'll all be sweet. We went to this place called Crowbar in New York City, man. It was just, they weren't a huge nightclub, like a warehouse turned into a massive like club. And they weren't selling alcohol. They were just selling Red Bull and water. There's all these like fucking, what look like extras from The Sopranos in there with like the fucking Jersey Shore Guido haircuts. And I chewing the jaw off themselves. And I was like, "You all right, lads? You all right? Having a good night?" And they're like, "Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, cool, man." And then we're sitting down with Vegas, and Justin's ex-girlfriend was working as she was working as a stripper for Howard Stern in a place called Scores. And we went into we were talking, and I went to the toilet. When I was in the toilet, there's you go in, and to the right is the sinks, to the left were the urinals, and there's some sort of like argument going on in the background. And I was like, "What the fuck's going on there, man?" And like there was a black guy who looked like Marcellus Wallace from Pulp Fiction, played by Ving Rhames, an Arabian guy, and like another Jersey Shore looking dude, and they've got this like American guy, white guy, up against a wall by the throat, and he's like, "No, man, I promise you, I'll have that." Bang, bang, and they're fucking smacking him, man, full force in the face. And this huge black guy, this bathroom attendant, I'm like washing my hands, and I'm looking at him, and also going, "Ugh." And he goes, "Hey, man, it's nothing to do with you, man. Just wash your hands and get out of here." And I remember just like leaving, like shaking, going, "Shit, man, that was fucking really heavy." And then going back to the table where Justin's ex-girlfriend was sitting, Vegas and Justin. And I come back and I'm like this going, and then like Vegas goes, "Yo, dude, what happened to you, man? Like, you look like shit. What happened?" I'm like, it came out of my mouth before I had a chance to pull him to one side, because Justin at the time had this thing called Heroic Destiny Squad, where he'd actually for real believed he was some sort of superhero called Cloud Star Chaser. And I just went, "Yeah, I just seen this guy getting absolutely hammered in the toilets." So Justin goes back with Vegas. So they're at the bathroom, and Vegas comes back without Justin. And I'm like, "What happened to Justin?" He goes, "Yo, man, your boy got kicked out. He was talking about being a professional hero and shit. And when they asked for his ID, he just pulled out a business card that said Cloud Star Chaser, Heroic Destiny Squad." So he was kicked out of the place. So outside then, Justin's outside, we're leaving, and he's outside trying to fight the bouncers. I'm like, "Mate, you can't fight the bouncers." Like, one of them was like, it was like the size of a fridge freezer with a microwave on top of it. You know, the dude was massive, and I was like, "Justin, you're mental, man. Don't do this." And he's like, "I can't die, dude. My life is like a computer game. I can't die." I was like, "Just settle down, yeah." I was wearing this like white shirt, and I said to him, "Justin," I should have said that afterwards. If you're like, "What's that got to do with anything?" But I said, "You got two choices. You can go home with me now, or you can go back and get your ass kicked and be an idiot." And I was like, "I think I know who's got the moral high ground here." So I started walking away, but I can hear like, "Fuck you!" in the back. He's ran back, the mad prick, and decked the one of the main bouncers in the face. And he and a few others just get on top of him, and his nose is like this. And I'm like, "Look, I'll take, get your fucking boy out of here, man. Get your boy out of here." And then Justin's going, "Ah," screaming. I've got blood all over my shirt now. It's just like cried blood on me. But yeah, so that was a good taste of how rough shit can be in America, as well as it being rough in the UK. But the UK is rough, man. Actually, Ireland is rough. I mean, Ireland was a different kind of rough. When I moved over, I started school on my 13th birthday, and there was a fight outside this place called TP's, which was one of these kind of youth clubs that kids would just be smoking ciggies and playing pool. And it was a different kind. It was like a rural kind of rough. And there was these two like 50 years just fighting, man. They were like a pair of like wild bulls. And I was just like, this place is mad. So then when I was in Ireland, I kind of started thinking about, I don't know how English lads could be as rough as Irish lads in terms of being hard. Like, but it just depends on where you are, man. You get it everywhere, I suppose. So let's have a look at some of your comments here, Lords. Don't be shy about tipping. Don't be shy about tipping. If there's any of you first-time tippers out there, man, you throw a few bob into the fucking feed the fucking ginger buck some cans. I grew up there, living North New England now. Different countries, I swear. I can imagine, yeah. Check out Under My Bed for some Ronnie Pickering before I go to sleep. He's one scary fucker. Oh, Ronnie Pickering. Is he the guy from Yorkshire? And his mate, he's just got like a Bentley or a Rolls Royce as his desk. And he's like, look, you're an educated man when you're sober, but when you get drunk, you're a fucking maniac. Is that Ronnie Pickering? Because I've seen that guy before. Apparently he like had to swim across like the China Sea at some stage over shark-infested water. Marcellus Wallace doesn't like to get fucked by anybody but Miss Wallace. Did you not throw out a few slaps? It all happened so quick, Joseph. It was just like, and there's also pick your battles. Like I mean, like what happened if after the hammer night scene, if I threw a few slaps as well, I was going to get my ass kicked. I mean, literally, one dude was about 7 feet, went about 120 centimeters wide, man. He was just I think, probably one of the biggest units I have to this day ever seen in my entire life. He was like fucking two state sides piled up on top of one another. And he based the name on Cloud Star Chaser, or he based the name on Cloud from Final Fantasy because he was big into like Japanese stuff. Rang Dipkin, you're welcome. Skyboy, Mikey Higgins. Maloney is the crack master. His superpower was excessively bleeding. Do you know, he was handy in fairness to him. Like he would rumble, but there was 3 occasions I had to straighten his broken nose out for him because I was like, look, mate, if I don't do it now, you're gonna have a crooked nose. And obviously it got broken again while I wasn't around, and now his nose is a bit like this. How accurate is Sligo in the series? I think Sligo is just kind of like a generic. I mean, there's some dodgy folk up around Sligo town, man. But it's just like a funny thing, like cause Sligo is like it's kind of like Shelbyville and Springfield. Graham Russell, thank you very much, mate. You know what? Fair play to you, Graham. G Unit. And if I fucking, when I see you in real life, mate, I will be taking you out for proper good times. And we could even go down to a Liverpool game or a derby, say Everton versus Liverpool. Go down the Blue Angel and drink some WKD Blue before putting on top man suits and going down to the Peacock and hanging out with luminaries from the indie world and fucking the Zootons, mate. Yeah, the Zootons. I remember meeting the Zootons once. Celtic Warrior, 10 beans, man. Much obliged, my man. Much obliged. Thank you very much, my friend. That's very kind of you. Cy Bennett's in the mix. You're very welcome. Yeah, I remember Matthew Street Festival meeting Dave McCabe from the Zootons, and you'd see Dave from the Zootons around the place. He'd been heebie-jeebies, and he'd been knocking around and all that. Like, and I should write a book, Rang Dipkin, and I will do one day. But there'd be a lot of broken hearts. But yeah, I think I will do because my life has been fucking mental, man. To be quite honest with you, and hopefully the stories will continue on. But yeah, so. This girl comes up to Dave McCabe from Zootons on the Sunday at Matthew Street Festival, and she's so, "Oh, Dave, I really love the Zootons. I'm a massive fan. I really love what you do. It's brilliant." And he's like this going, "Oh, this is weird, mate. You know what I mean? Like, why are you telling me this is weird? Do you know what I mean? You're being really weird." And I said to her, "Dave, man, she's a fan of what you do. Just be nice to her. Just thank her. Take a picture or give her a hug or whatever. You'll make her day." But instead of, he was so fucking aloof about it. He was like, "It's fucking weird, man. You're creeping me out, like creeping me out." But yeah, I mean, Liverpool, like for me, it was weird, man. This is Kev Johnston, mate. Oh, they laugh. Fair play for that, mate. The Ashton touch now. Do you know what I mean? Every crow loves their own, innit, mate? But I'd love to do something. I'd love to do a comedy in Liverpool as well, or like a Scouse-based comedy. Normal People. I haven't seen that yet, mate. No. Derek Kennedy. Here, hey. I'd love to do because there's so many witty characters around Liverpool, and like even in school when we were in Wallasey, there was a couple of lads who we figured out that you could really the great part about the English language is you could just play around with it. And I remember telling this to an ex-girlfriend that first time I was living over in New York, this girl called Britt Mazzola, and I was like, well, you see, the great thing about the English language is you can customize it any way you want. And she was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, for example, back in school, if we could just take a noun and put a verb or another noun at the end of it just to make it an insult. So you could call someone a bell cheddar, or like a wank shaft. You can just you can play around with so many multiple combinations of insults. Where over here in Sweden, it's there's about 10. And then I'll try and say something in Swedish, and they're like, you can't say that in Swedish. It doesn't translate. And I was like, I just did. It's now a thing. So, yeah, what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do, right? A can of lager in it. Fucking, you know what, Kevin, he mate, fucking is Skull Super from Bargain Booze on Egbert Road. Fucking Stone Cold Steve Mahan. Your Scouse impressions are brilliant, man. Thanks very much, Graham. Do you know what, mate? You know, I do my best, like. And, you know, it's been a long time since I was over there as well. Like, it's been a long time, you know, and, you know, it's a good crack. I remember once I ended up, 2006, going to the, trying to blag my way into a house party that was around the corner from me. And it was just off where, if any of you are familiar with Liverpool, you have the Egbert Road, then you have the library, and then you have I can't remember the name of it. I can't remember. But basically, it goes around Sefton Park. But there's like in between the back of the library and this road, it begins with an L. It goes on to Lark Lane, and I could hear music coming in for it. Shawnee, thank you very much, sir. And I remember hearing this music outside this house party. You know, someone was coming out, and I got in anyway, and went up the stairs to the third floor, and I could hear all this like hard house coming out. So then I knocked on the door, and this girl opens the door, and I said, "Oh, sorry, I just wonder if I can come into the house party." And she's like, "Yeah, 1 second, I'll just get the girl who owns the place." And this real hard, small Scouse woman comes out, and she goes, "Who the fuck are you? What the fuck do you want?" I was like, "I was just wondering if I could come in and just like hang out for a while." Why would you want to come in? You don't even fucking know us. I was like, "Yeah, but I heard music, man. The night is young. I don't fucking care. If you don't fucking get out of here now, I'll get my fucking boyfriend." Was it? She goes, if you don't get out of here now, I'll get my big black boyfriend to come around here and shag you up the ass. I was like, whoa. And I think I said to her, "How rude." And then and I said, "Have a nice night," and left. So I didn't bother going to random house parties as much after that. You know, the threat of being sodomized by a large Afrocentric man was enough to put the willies up me. Garrett 32, thank you very much, mate. That's very kind of you. You're a sound man, Martin. Here's some cash and claw for the good content, mate. I live to make good content, and I appreciate that. And you know what? Hanging out with you guys is brilliant. Like I don't even need to leave the gaff, and it's nice. I mean, I've finally, took me a long time to get to the point where I could be myself, and the more I do it, the better I'm getting at it, and the more relaxed I'm getting at it. There was an awful lot of too much self-awareness from like, oh! It was a crippling self-awareness, but I don't care now, man, because I wanted to reach the stage of how I was just hanging out with my mates, and the thing is, like, I'm, you know, getting to know you guys, and yeah, I mean, if when old lockdown shit stops, I'll start a a tour. You know, I'd like to do an American tour, even just like small little bars, man. Just go around. And Christian Ronald, another legend, man. Fair play to you, mate. It's very kind of you. That is very kind of you. Was your once boyfriend Purple Lackey? I'm beginning to think he was. Shit, man. You know, I could have actually had to have done some push-ups there, and he would have then felt my tense bicep, and if it was a good bicep, he would have let me off, and I would have been like, "Cheers, Aki, lad. Thanks for fucking not, you know, bumming me, mate." Joseph, thank you very much, mate. Funny enough, I've been in Sweden so long that when people say Joseph, I say Joseph. So, thanks for the hi, Joseph. Leaning Murphy, thank you very much. Ever been out in Birmingham, Martin? No, I haven't actually. I passed through it. But I wouldn't mind going back to, you know, I was in Birmingham on the way to, I was in Decathlon. We bought a bed from a retail partner in Warsaw. And my brother-in-law, Mike, who does the Hardy Books, he's also from near the Black Country, isn't he? Warsaw. But Birmingham's is a kind of a funny one. There's so many like massive like British invasion heavy metal bands that have come out of Birmingham, as well as Stan Collymore. So fair play to him. Sweden, Peter Forsberg, yeah, Fopper, the hockey player. Wasn't he? He did something with the Trailer Park Boys. Came to Stockholm and they did something with Fopper. But wasn't he playing for? He was playing in the NHL, but he's on the Swedish team. January, exactly, Max. But I think what we should do when all this, you know, the best thing is. Okay, here's an idea, right? I mean, it could be a bit of a far stretch for a lot of you guys, but after all this lockdown shit happens and we've refused the vaccines, we've told Gates and the boys to go fuck themselves. All this bollocks will blow over. I might put 2 nights on in Stockholm where I just do like comedy and, you know, like do a show. And for the first night, maybe have like locals I know from Sweden who want to come along to it, but then just have one for all of you YouTube, you know, fans and friends, and or like have it in London. We just rent a place in London or wherever is handiest. So we just like, because Jimmy Baz and the boys were over in December, Max Darwin as well, and yeah, we had brilliant crack, man. It was just a fantastic night in London, wasn't it, around Islington. But it was funny. I was doing the gig. I mean, like if I booked my own gig, man, I would have made like 4 times the coin. But I did it with a mate of mine, and he was like, "Yeah, Martin, I do this gig, and I've got this place in Angel," and so the gig was on like fucking 5 o'clock on a Sunday evening. Like for me, I would have wanted like 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock on Friday. Friday evening would have been optimum for me. Like, but I thought I'd do it anyway for the crack, and the gig on the Sunday was packed, and there was a good crowd at it. Really, really juicy characters. I mean, mate, Paul Bastard, he only had like 2 people in his gig afterwards. Stephen Healy, man, holy shit! Fair play to you. Thank you very much, mate. Hardy Bucks 2, the Bucks Rock Vegas. That's what was supposed to happen, mate. To be quite honest with you, we're going to do a sequel, and don't know what happened. Thank you very much. Actually, all you guys who have donated is very kind of you, and I know that a lot of you are repeated donors, and you know it's really kind of you. It's, yeah, it's you guys are fucking proper legends. But yeah, the second film, like we did about it was going to be in Australia, then it was Australia again, and the planets didn't align, man. But I'm really starting to miss doing Hardy Bucks, man, just because it's so funny. Like it was the penny. Like I hadn't watched it for a long time, and then I was watching it there with some friends over here a couple of weeks ago, and I just thought to myself, I was like, it's very, very funny. Like it's not for a mainstream audience, but if you get it, you're gonna thoroughly love it. Like, you know. But I would love to do it. A second film would be great. You know, we have a couple of different drafts at the moment. Yeah, we were going to do like a piss take out of like, we're going to have a character called MacGuffin who was fighting in a thing called the CBC, which is the Caged Beast Championships. It's going to be basically like a parody of McGregor fighting a gorilla. And then you have like something like Joe Rogan style commentary going, well, like MacGuffin, you know, his ground game is strong, but the silverback gorilla, man, like his arms have the radius of like a football. You know, it's that kind of shit. I'm just like, I don't know. We'll see what the crack is, but nothing really happening in the TV world now until all this shit's over, which is kind of nice, man. It's nice that there's no concerts, no sports, no TV. It's just like, in a weird way, it's just all that other. There's a kind of a weird peace. You know what I mean? You're not having shit like rammed down your throat unless you're on like Instagram and it's like Wish adverts. That is bullshit. Like there was a Lecoq Sportif hoodie going for like 20 quid. I'm like, that's bollocks. You know, and then you see like these, they just take whatever your search history is and then just throw some random shit in with cookies and then put like a completely random price over a Wish advert on Instagram. Instagram, what's it all about, man? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it took me a long time to get into that. And it's just people posing, trying to, you know, create an avatar of themselves doing well, so people will trust them and be like, I think I'll go to that person's gig because they've got a big following. It's just like you know, you have to play the game a bit, like, but I find it really disingenuous, man. I don't really put anything up for the sake of putting things up. Whereas this long form, I enjoy this because it's like a chat with myself, I suppose. I'm going as Axl Rose, man. Yeah. Books is something that you can watch again and again and again, and it never gets old of its phrases that you can reference again and again. Do you know what? The interesting thing is, Fionn, it's got to the stage where some of it was so long ago that I'd actually forgotten that we'd filmed it. And it's weird, like you probably know the same yourself. You see yourselves in a picture from like 20 years ago, and you're like, or like fucking 5 years ago, and you remember the occasion, but you actually can't remember the picture being taken. And that's kind of like how Hardy Books is. I'm like, I was watching some bits, I was like, well, I don't even remember that day or that moment. You know, it's I suppose the brain just kind of like shits out anything that's not important enough. So you know what? For all of the kind donators, especially here's more. We're going to go into the chapter of triumph and adversity hyphen dodgy advice. So get yourself buckled in for this, boys. You're gonna like this. Don't get me wrong. Glory and victory is class and all, but believe it or not, failure can be even more of a rewarding aspect to life. It takes skill, courage, and sacrifice to be a winner, but you have to be tough to be a loser. It builds character, so it does. Repeated failure prepares you for the inevitable disappointments later on in life. Look at UFC fighter Ronda Rousey. The time she lost the belt to Holly Holm. Waste of time, man. She didn't even touch gloves before going in. It was a mark of disrespect. Hard as nails, moody old face on her. Came out all guns blazing. Wouldn't touch gloves, hey. Then badoish. She got clocked out good style. The judo failed her. She wasn't able to minimize the space effectively enough. Holmes' reach, evasion, and better striking game was surgical, hiding jabs behind kicks, kicks behind jabs. Before Rousey could get a handle on it, the game was lost. It was a tough life lesson for Rousey, crying away in the ring then, all embarrassed. It was a hard old fall from the top of the heap. Now she's getting handy coin to bench press shaved-headed steroid heads in WWE, formerly known as WWF. Not to be confused with the other WWF, the Wild Animal Protection Charity started by two eugenics wrong'uns, Aldous Huxley and the frozen cadaver himself, Prince Philip. Won't be sending any more coin to those boys, and that's gospel, according to Chris Gavigan. Once a winner gets a taste of losing, it's good night and good bless for the pride. The ego kicks into overdrive then. If you don't learn how to be humble in defeat, you'll lose the run of yourself fairly fucking lively. Fall short of the mark of faceplant as much as I have repeatedly, and you get used to it after a while, developing a passive devil-may-care attitude. Failure reminds us not only do we have too many lofty ideas, but reminds us to play to our strengths. Stay within your limits. When you think life is going well and you're getting cocky, bam! The rug is swept from underneath you. Like the time I went up to Dublin and tried to blag my way into a fancy office job, which I will go into later in further detail. Botched love interests, oh, I've had a fair share of them, hey. Getting arrested, oh yeah. Making a tit out of myself in public, oh, you better believe it, Sonny Jim. Some of my biggest mistakes were born from taking useless advice from individuals with no idea what the hell they were talking about. Midnight pissheads outside pubs, leading me to believe that handiwork could be obtained by befriending captains of industry in public houses. There's a reason people say, I'll sleep on it before making important decisions. Now, NB, beware of older relatives too. Sometimes they're bitter on the sly because they've pissed away their best years making the wrong decisions in life, or they've had great years and are now jealous that you're at the all-you-can-eat crack buffet table and they're not invited. I was once led astray by my career guidance counsellor back in school. She wanted me to go to college in DCU to do computer programming in 2000. Computers! No, I said. I know what you're at. Trying to crush my dreams, aren't you? Computers. You mean those things that sit in the corner and give you cancer? Sure, what would I be doing with one of them? I want to be driving a Formula One car. I told you that already, sister. Eddie, be realistic. I've actually gone through the trouble of in-depth researching all the requirements you'll need to make it in Formula One racing. Millions of pounds, a Formula 3 race car, a track, sponsors, mechanic pit crew, A transportation truck. Bare minimum, a driving license. You don't even have that. Sister, hey, I need that Ferrari job. And that's that. Shreddy Irvine did it, and he's a feckless, naughty womanizer. Anyway, I don't want to go to college. It's just another 4 years of school. And school's fucking boring, man. People telling me what to do all the time. Fuck that caper. Looking back now, Sister Deirdre was actually giving me sound advice. Well, you can't put the genie back in the bottle at this stage, can you? I'm amazed the fat blue prick squeezed into that lamp in the first place. I'm talking about Disney's Aladdin, played by Blobby Williams. Blobby Williams' films were class, man. Remember when he played a transsexual in Miss Doubtfire? Pierce Brosnan's in that, hey. Some fucking man, Pierce. He's a Meath man. Plenty good land up in Meath, hey. Lovely green grass. Solid pH levels. Loamy, as you like. Great. Look it. I just want to get out this fucking place. With some surefire get-rich-quick scheme. It's not just my own folly standing in the way of reaching my dream house in Palm Beach. There's also a gang of saboteur cruellers hanging around the town, and they love to see me face-planting into a bed of stinging nettles. I know that for a fact, because I was doing the rounds uptown. Sure, if I do manage to get this book published, they'll say, "Yeah, Durkin, read your book, man." "Oh yeah, any good?" "No, man, it was a ball of fucking shite." But on the DL, the same begrudger would secretly be proud of and supportive of me, because I'd done my best to put the town on the map. And for all intents and purposes, I love my town, warts and all. Perhaps he'd even recommend this book to others in his sphere of influence, telling them, "Yeah, man, I told him to keep going. Don't stop until you reach the finish line. Whatever you do, don't stop." He'd maybe even take further credit by saying he'd offered opinion and wise counsel to me during the lonely hours of the writing process, subsequently impressing others into buying him sweet pints of Smithwick's Blonde. That's the way it goes. People in town don't really like to admit it when others are doing well. On the other hand, they don't really like to see people struggle either. They want stuck in limbo, the grey area in the middle I was talking about. It's the even keel. It's called tall poppy syndrome in New Zealand, or Jantelaget in Sweden. Must be like the crack in communist East Germany back in the 80s. Get above your station and you know all about it, man. Those of us hardy enough attempting to fight for our ambitions are ignored by those uptown. They don't want to encourage any seeds of creativity falling on fertile ground. If the shoots of enterprise begin sprouting, then you're relentlessly slagged off. Sure, I'm guilty of doing it myself, man. When you're wallowing in your own existential boghole, the last thing you want to see is other lads doing well, swanning around, living it up, rubbing it in. Like the time one of my oldest childhood friends, French Toast O'Toole, acquired a CNC lathing diploma in Galway. A diploma that enabled him to build metal components by using a computerized lathe in engineering factories. Toasting started getting a bit above a station, talking about the future. We were in our early 20s. We felt deeply jarred by the idea of accepting personal responsibility for our less than flattering life choices, scared by the mountain path that stretched out before us. He grew existentially tired of seeing us all stuck in a repetitive circle of procrastination, binge drinking marathons, in bed all day, out on late nights. Eventually, his levee broke. He towered over us one day in the living room of Buzz's cottage. Recently inherited Granny's DOS house, addressing us with a rousing Al Pacino any given Sunday style speech. I have to say, it stirred emotion within us that struck us to the marrow. We knew the integral words he spoke were truth. We reflected upon our negligent life choices, lamented as we looked to the long road to success, the effort required to correct life's path in order to attain our hopes and dreams. We envisioned a future of financial prosperity and independence, respect from the community. It was a real eye-opener, like the time in Matrix when Neo took the red pill off the black chat dealer and it blew his mind. We all decided there was only one thing to do. We'd pull up our socks and get stuck in. And so began a concerted campaign of mild hazing to crush Frenchie's dreams and make him feel bad about furthering his success. In fairness, I was actually up for starting over until Buzz started calling him Professor College Boy. I suppose looking back, we all got a bit carried away, like a senseless mob of headers smashing up a city centre during a riot. We got in a taste for it. Buzz started it off. Hey, fucking Boston Harvard, where are you going with the fancy leather jacket, man? Fancy? Sure, I've had this jacket the last 5 years. Yeah, sure you have, college boy. Look at you. Going off to college. A regular freshman, said Buzz, smug and content, nodding his head slowly, looking around at the rest of us to seek approval. Freshman? Sure, I'm fucking 22, man. You don't move like no 22-year-old. What does that even mean? You do the math, college boy. Oh, you know exactly what that means. I fucking don't. I haven't a clue what you're saying. You're talking shite. That's what all the college boys say. You want to knock that college shit in the head, Toasty. You've changed for the worst, man, and I don't like it. One bit. Poor old Frenchie, he was pretty bummed out. Buzz McDonald, my right-hand henchman, maintained it was for his own good, saying he didn't want to see Frenchie getting hurt by becoming a big-headed softcock, moving off somewhere nice to become a big fancy ponce with a wife and semi-detached house with kids and a Volvo. Frenchie eventually did what we all would have done in that situation and folded, caving into baseless peer pressure, thus drank himself into oblivion. Looking back now, I can't help but feel bad about the whole chapter of contempt. I guess it all worked out best in the end. He was due to move to Sydney in 2006 to start work as a supervisor in a high-tech factory. Selfishly, we just didn't want to see our friend leave. He was cosy. He was sound. We loved French toast dearly. He's a lovely old skin. We do it for him these days. He lives in the pink cottage now with us. When he's not wandering around the towns playing the tin whistle, he's singing folk songs in pubs for pints and food. A wandering bard, wizened, traditional quasi-holy man, ravishing the mature buttes. I'll fill you on that crack later on. So that's the another chapter of that there, boys. That's page 17, hey. What you think of this, huh? Did you enjoy that fucking stuff, did you? Look at the dimensions of his skull, man. Was that what you said? Ah, fuck, I'm wrong. The game. You boys talking about hard lads fighting Ferguson, eh? Hard cunts. Page 17 of the Hardy book. Well, no, this is just page 17 of chapter 2. But I have them. I have the original ones up on Patreon, and I have this latest one as well. Kevin E. Murphy's on the third can. Well, do you know what? Fair play to Kevin E. Murphy. You're a fucking sound old skin. I don't pay for shit. What do you say? Another moderator. Oh, brilliant, man. I'm glad there's other people allowing the comments, because that was just something I had to do the whole. That's actually fucking brilliant, lads. That's a great little touch. It's good to have moderators, hey. Fuck it. You know, Kevin Ian Johnston, I met you a mod and all, man, because you were fucking kicked off. You was kicked off the crack, man. He was kicked off the crack on the Viper stream. Now he's a mod. Who else can we fucking... Liam Murphy is another lad who is an old school. Be all mod soon. Fucking couple of 8 cans deep on the hard juice now. Don't be giving the whole book away. No, I won't. I'd play some hardcore. No, I'll give you. That's just a little touchner, man. Do you know what I mean? A touchner. So bear with me now, boys. Bear with me now. A couple of fucking hard cunts in the mix. Do you ever smoke fucking hash, boys? What a generic question. But I tell you one thing: the spammers last week, man, they were a pain in the hole. I got 5% left on the battery. Would you join me if I was to finish a bit of Resident Evil? Would you get on the mix there with a bit of Resident Evil? I might just because I want to finish that bastard. You don't have to know. No, you don't have to. But I just want to say I'm going to wrap this up. But this man, it's been brilliant crack hanging out with you. Like it's close to the virtual pub. It's as close as you'll get. And just to really show my appreciation for all you guys, I'm going to do a squirt of the old piri piri. Oh yeah, that's the kind of man I am. A daft cunt. Is the Viper still going? Is he? Ooh, spicy vintage. But yeah, well, look, that was just an homage to a lot of you. Quite nice actually. Cause see, that'd be one of those weird things that I would just like start doing. Be like, yeah, man, try it. It's fucking great after a while. It's like Martin had to go to the hospital because he had a really bad ulcer from drinking piri piri sauce out the bottle. Mad prick. I remember once getting tricked into drinking a thing called the Red Ring at a bar when I was 20 in Dublin. Some assholes had taken Sambuca and vodka, put 20 shots of tequila in it, or 20 shots of Tabasco. Bad fucking shit, man. Fucking Marduk was after me that night, boy, I tell you. Well, come here, look. The Viper's some crack, and not as much crack as yourself. Man, I really just want to get the production values because we'd have way more crack if I could get videos up on the OBS. So it'd be great, man, just to get some production values. So I'm gonna try and get myself a proper setup, but it's about space as well. So, it's fucking so many logistical things. But anyway, look, Red Dead 2 streams would be class. Yeah, I'll get into that as well, man. I prefer the shy talk to the games. Well, it's a bit more. You've got a bit more attention. You know, it's the games. It's just me going. You know, you're not giving it the full attention. Like this is a bit more on point. It's like having a half conversation, but it's a bit of crack as well. You kind of it fills the void, man. You filled her void. But yeah, please, if you haven't done it already, give it the old thumbs up, guys. And yeah, man, thank you all very much for everything. And it's been an absolute pleasure. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I might stick on a bit of Resident Evil too, because I just have to complete that for my own sake because it's taken fucking. I bought it this time last year, so it's be it at Brookside, boy, you know the crack well. And listen, go forth and spread the word that Maloney has a handy live stream. I'll be leaving this video up anyway for any of your mates who want to catch it and check it out. If there's anything into it, you find out. And so thank you to everyone who's stuck around, all my patrons, all the dudes on social media, all of you viewers for sticking around. Thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, it's such fucking YouTube generic words. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I was always like, why are they so fucking mad for subscribers, man? But I guess it's nice to have everyone in one place, you know. But yeah, spread the word and spread the cheeks. And I talk to you later. Thanks all very much. Good night, God bless. Check your lure. Not yet.